Hi there. Maybe you're a software developer, and maybe you're afraid of ChatGPT or what you've heard about it. Why are you afraid? So we'll talk about that in this video and also show you how to use it to make yourself a more effective developer, to be a more effective developer. So probably the most common reason people are afraid of technologies like this is they're worried that it's going to take their job away from them. And so you may be worried about that. But if you'll learn how to use it to make yourself more effective as a software developer, then it's a great assist to be able to make you be more useful, and you'll be able to do more, and you'll be able to complete tasks quicker. And you use a lot of tools already as a software developer to do that. Even a simple thing like IntelliSense in Visual Studio or autocomplete. You probably noticed in Visual Studio 2022 that capability is a lot. There's a lot more to it than there used to be. So these tools help you be more effective. So to get to ChatGPT, you need to go to OpenAI.com, and so what I'd recommend is you just, in your browser, if you'll just search for OpenAI, and then down at the bottom right here it says ChatGPT. I also gave you the link to a link directly to this. You'll need to have a login for OpenAI, and that's a free account that you can get signed up on. So I've already got one, and I've already logged in, but it'll prompt you to log in if you haven't. They want to make sure that it's humans doing this, and so alright, so here we are at ChatGPT, and how does it work? Well, it's all about typing in a question or a prompt, and you can type in all kinds of different things here, and it will converse with you as if it were another human. That's the whole idea of a chatbot. It simulates another person chatting with you, but we're going to use it very specifically for a little problem here. So let's go back to our slides for just a minute. I just picked a simple example of how to load, for example, an Excel spreadsheet and display it on the screen using a WinForms C#.NET application. Pretty straightforward. So to do that, we're going to start by starting up Visual Studio. You can forget this code. This is the test project I was working on. But we are going to create a Windows Forms app.NET framework. Now remember, this has nothing to do with ChatGPT. We're going to use ChatGPT to help us build this application, but we're not going to these two things are not tied together, other than we're just using it as an assist to make us more effective. So let's call this load and display from Excel or something like that. Okay. So let's create our project. And this is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to add a button. Now you could go out and find tutorials on the internet on how to do this right now. You don't need ChatGPT to do this for you, but I'm just trying to demonstrate how it can make you more effective. So it's a very convenient way to get help. So let's just say load Excel. That's what our button's going to do. And now this is where your experience as a developer comes in. So if I went to ChatGPT and asked it how would I display data from Excel in a Windows form application, it might tell me what controls to use. But there's some knowledge that you need to know. For example, you need to know what controls there are out there available to you. We're going to use this data grid view control, and so we're just going to drop this on here. And the first thing we want to do is we want to say, hey, I want to be able to allow the user, when they press this Load Excel button, to select a file, an Excel file, to load, and then I will load that into a data table, and then I will give that data table to this control that knows about data tables. So let's go to ChatGPT and see how it can help us with that. So the first thing we want to do is say, show me how to pick a file in a C# WinForms application. Now ChatGPT has these little pauses in it, but you'll notice what it says is to pick a file. You can use the Open File Dialog class, and here's an example. So it just shows you right here what to do. And let's do the same prompt, but instead of saying pick a file, let's say we can tell it to stop generating here, which we'll do. How about to pick an Excel file in a C# WinForms application. So again, same instructions, but now it's specific to our problem. So the questions that you ask, the prompts that you give ChatGPT make all the difference in the world. And I've noticed this a lot with even searching the internet. If I'm searching Google, for example, people that know how to use the search engine effectively, people that know how to prompt and interact with ChatGPT effectively, they're going to do better at being able to find answers quickly to help them. So here, look, it gave us all this code right out of the gate. And so I am going to copy this code, and right here at the top it just says copy code. So let's go back over to Visual Studio, and I'm going to double click on my button. And what we want is, let's see, if we go back over to ChatGPT and look at the code for just a minute. So there's our code. I actually don't want all the code. I just want this part right here. So we could put this in a function, which would probably be better. So let's do that. Actually, let's ask it to do that and see if it'll do that. Create a function that will allow an Excel file to be selected in a C# WinForms application. Let's see how that does. So it's generated, it's just scrolled off the screen here. We don't really want this Excel package stuff, so you can see that you're getting all kinds of different suggestions here, and knowing what to do with this code is important. You just to assume that you would be able to do this without understanding the code is that's really challenging. So let's go ahead and just do this. I'm going to we'll just grab this code right here. So you can get some different suggestions here and then make some decisions on what you're going to do. And we are going to go ahead right here, and we'll write our own function. So private string get Excel file. And we will paste that code in. And right here, We'll just do a return instead of putting it into a text box. We don't need to do any of this. If we wanted to manipulate the Excel file directly, we could certainly do that. But this is really all we need. And again, the comments you'll need to update. Okay, so we'll do an else return null. And down here we'll say, let's get our file name, our file path. You notice the IntelliSense is just filling out the code for me. We don't seem to worry too much about that, but for some reason we've decided that a chatbot that knows how to do things is scary. And it's not. It can help you out a lot. Let's just try this. So let's run this program, and here it is. Okay, so it's allowing me to pick a file, and it wants Excel files over here, which is great. If we navigate down here to some of our previous examples, let's see. There's an Excel file out there. Okay. Now we haven't loaded it yet, so that's going to be the next thing. So let's go to ChatGPT and see if it can help us out with that. Show the code to load an Excel file into a data table in C#. Okay, so it's showing us how to do this again. So we have this function that's written for us that will return a data table, which is exactly what we want. Now, I'm not necessarily familiar with this Excel data reader, so we'll see what happens when we try to include this. This could be a third-party library, not real sure. So maybe we'll ask, what is the Excel data reader? It kind of scrolls off down here. So it's a library. It's open source. How do I install Excel data reader in a Visual Studio project? Again, asking the right question, right? And so it's going to show us the steps. So we're going to follow these first. Okay, so we have our Visual Studio project open. So let's jump to that. Open your Visual Studio, right-click on the project name, and do Manage NuGet. So right here, we'll right-click, Manage NuGet Projects. Click on the Browse tab right here. And it wants us to put in Excel Data Reader. It's not the using. Just that. Okay, so here it is. Let's go back to our instructions. Select it and click on the install button. So right here, we'll hit install. There's our MIT license. We'll say OK to that. Alright, so that should be in here now. Right there. There's our reference to it, so that's great. So now we should be able to go ahead and use this code. And we want this right here first. So let's go back to our code. And let's include this. And it seems to know about that, which is a good sign. And then let's grab our load Excel right here. Another method. So we're going to hit Control Enter. Oops, sorry, Alt Enter on this. All right, so there's more to this Excel reader than just using it directly. Let's see. We create the reader. So this is where we're going to have to go learn more about the Excel data reader. So let's go jump back over to ChatGPT. I'm trying to use ChatGPT exclusively to help us and not go back to the internet and start doing some searching. So here, okay, so to load the Excel, you can use Excel Data Reader. This is a good example of how just because it spits a bunch of code out at you, you can't just throw it in here and use it without understanding what it's doing. But you can use ChatGPT to help you find out more about it. And it's actually showing us, because we asked about loading files, it went ahead and helped us out and said, oh, by the way, you can go ahead and just incorporate that as well. How do I use Excel Data Reader in C#? Okay, we did, so it said you need to install it, and I already explained how to do that. And then it says, here's how you use it. Let's make sure we have system data, system IO. System data, system IO, we've got those. And here, Let's go ahead and have it install that. Okay, that fixed it. So it wanted this Excel data reader data set. So we got that in there now. And then let's see, we're missing a curly brace here. So we'll fix that. All right. So we've got our file path here. Now let's get our data table. And it's, again, filling everything in for us, and we're okay with that. Now this is a really big Excel file, so it'll be interesting to see. Well, it's not really big, I guess it's big enough. It'll be interesting to see if it can handle this okay, but let's see. Let's go back. By the way, there's many different ways you can load Excel into a data table. I'm just picking the one that ChatGPT showed me. Let's see. How to display Excel data in a data grid view in C#. Again, be specific. So sometimes ChatGPT, this is a beta, and sometimes it will die on you like this, and it's pretty simple. Just refresh, and assuming that ChatGPT is still working. Now it's forgotten the conversation that we had, so we'll say, how do you load Excel data into a data view grid in C#? So it's this is a different way of accessing Excel using the application. We don't really care about all of this. What we care about it, because we already have the data table. So it's really about how do we get that into the data view grid right here. So there's our data table. We've already got that. And just keep going here. We just set the data source. This is really the line of code that I was interested in. And I probably could have asked that a little bit differently. But let's go do that. So data grid v1 dot data source. And it says, yep, you must want the Excel data. Well, let's run this and see what happens. Let's see if we can get this to work. So we've gotten all of our program put together now. When we hit load Excel, it's going to be able to remember that, and then it's going to take a while probably because it's a really big file. I probably need to find a smaller one. So I'm going to pause the video and get a smaller test file just to make sure that things are working the way they're supposed to. You can see my memories. Oh, there it goes. It came back. Never mind, I won't. And there's our data. So sure enough, it went out there and did that. Now, I didn't search the internet. However, I knew some things. I knew what a data table was. I knew that I had a data source. So there's some things that you still need to know. ChatGPT isn't going to come along and replace all that knowledge. But it's an assist, right? I never load. I've tried to load Excel before, and it's always a pain. You have to install certain Office libraries and things. I never used the MIT library before. This looks pretty slick to be able to do this. So think of ChatGPT as that assist. So it's just another developer productivity accelerator, and that's how you should look at it. I would definitely get familiar with it. Another thing you can do that's really interesting, and we'll do some other videos on this, you can take code and give it to ChatGPT and ask it to optimize it. So, or let's just put our code in and ask it to review it and see what it says. So you can ask it to do code review for you. Let's see what happens if we try that out. And we'll maybe do another video just on doing that. But let's just grab all of this, and then let's go back over to ChatGPT and say, please review the following code. Now remember, I got this code from ChatGPT for the most part. Okay, so it says go ahead. So I pasted it all in. So look at what it's telling me. It says, oh, it demonstrates how to load data from an Excel file and display it in a data grid. Here's a few suggestions to improve the code. So we didn't do anything with error handling. Yep, that's right. That's a good pointer. So this can make you a better coder. This can make you a better developer. This can make you faster. This can make your code less errorful. But keep in mind that it is a machine learning based solution that's giving you this, and you can't just trust everything implicitly. I would be very careful about just taking the code, copying and pasting it without really understanding what it was doing. So anyway, I hope this has been a great little introduction to how you can use ChatGPT to accelerate coding. And please remember to subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.